we're going to say it up front. Neither of us has ever read a Green Lantern comic. Not one page. But everyone keeps telling us Lanterns is the show to watch, so 2 total DC newbies are jumping in blind. No lore, no homework, just vibes and confusion. Let's get into it. So let's start with the ring. It's what makes the Green Lantern, I guess?
And we had no idea really what the ring's power was going to be, but it can make anything. And that's so cool, so limitless really in its possibilities, but also what a skill you'd have to train. Like, how do you know just the right thing to make?
Yeah, it's like AI prompting at its finest.
and even the way that he makes bubble wrap to prevent the fall. I don't know if I'd be able to think about that. I'm flying off a cliff.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either. And then it was like the infinite money thing that he was doing with the jukebox. Like, it's just a very cool concept. I also just love the imagery and like how what he makes with it is green. So you kind of know it's got this like mystical property. So I thought that was cool too.
And it helps that they live in a world that knows of the Green Lantern's existence. So they're like, yeah, this glowing green money, that's totally fine. It's from the Green Lantern.
Yeah. And I guess the other really cool part is that it stores their consciousness.
Yeah, because we see him from 20 years prior. In 2006, we see, obviously currently in 2016, and then we see in 2026 as well. But the 2006 version lets us know that they get uploaded weekly.
Into that ring, I guess. So it really does beg the question. So whoever has the ring is the Green Lantern. But he can like give it away. He gave it to his mentee for a minute to use it and test him and try him. But I'm curious to know, do all rings work like that? Are there more?
I also think it's really interesting that it has to be charged, because it would seem like a very almost overpowered tool to have to be able to make anything you want. So I think it's kind of cool to have a limitation on it of, oh, but you need to charge it. And especially because they are called the Green Lantern, it is called lanterns, I would expect to see a lantern at some point.
Like, I was kind of shocked that there was a ring at all.
Yeah, and that it's not just a lantern that he carries around.
Yeah, having like zero background knowledge of the Green Lantern, I was just expecting him to be flying around with a lantern in his hand.
Yeah, but I do like the limitation of it needing to be charged daily, and I imagine they're going to end up in a situation where they can't get to it and they can't charge the ring. But I think it's very cool how they made something very powerful, but also limited both in what you can think of in order to have it make, and also how to charge it.
Yeah. If you're enjoying watching 2 DC noobs try to figure all of this out, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment with your theories, and subscribe so you don't miss the next reaction. I do love how the show is broken up into 3 different time periods. Very True Detective style.
Absolutely. Even, the fact that you have kind of 2 detectives really that don't necessarily get along all the time, and it was giving True Detective vibes. We only got a little snippet of the 2006 timeline, which was the upload in the ring of Hal Jordan, and we gained a lot from that. We learned that they have to upload the rings weekly. We also learned that 2006 is the last time Hal Jordan uploaded the ring, so he didn't do it for the next 10 years. You have to imagine there's a reason for that.
Yeah, and the 2006 Hal we saw was somewhat optimistic, so it's very interesting to think something could have happened that would change that completely.
He was almost upset with 2016 him for not training John properly.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I'm not showing you this stuff, or I'm not giving you this. And he gave the message about Hale in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And interesting to know that this small town in Nebraska was a problem, or on Hal Jordan's radar in 2006, 2016, and we do see him, what we think is him, possibly, dead in 2026 in the exact same town.
Yeah. And like, again, in 2016, small town Nebraska, we actually get our first encounter with an alien. So, there's got to be something more to it. Because I would expect, if there's aliens, like, wouldn't they be at, like, a major city? Like, New York Times Square, DC, like, how did they end up in Nebraska? And then we were introduced to just, like, the small town vibe that way.
And again, we don't have much DC knowledge at all. I think I watched maybe 2 seasons of Smallville, which is like Superman. But that, they all would always come back to the same town because there was something underneath it, I think. So I wonder if it's something similar in Nebraska, that football field in particular that we saw has something underneath it that is calling to aliens, I would think.
Because for Hal to always reset in that football stadium, that's the last place that he uploaded, but then it's also the place where we see his dead body, and you gotta wonder, it's a message to John.
And the 2016 timeline of him is so burnt out, but the one thing he is focused on is Nebraska. So like, we kind of see him very neglectful, not really wanting to do his job, and the one time that he is about Nebraska and about this place. So you have to imagine it's really important for him to be willing to do it, and for him to be kind of training John maybe a little bit more actively while there.
Yeah, like, he locks in when they're in Nebraska.
And then 2026, again, only maybe a minute gets spent there, but we learn so much. We see what we think is Hal Jordan dead on like a stadium bench, but he's missing the ring.
Yeah, and that's why we keep saying we think Hal Jordan, because we don't know the universe well enough to know, like, when somebody dies in the DCU, do they actually die? Like, is that like final, or do they kind of come back in a way? And we do love looking for theories and Easter eggs and whatnot. And he does say, or they do say when they're interviewing the alien, or in the 2016 timeline, they do say that there's aliens that can perfectly mimic humans. So you have to wonder, is there a possibility that they're mimicking a human and mimicking Hal Jordan? And that's why he doesn't have the ring. Otherwise, it does lead the question, we saw Jon Stewart come to visit. He doesn't look like he was involved in that scenario at all. So at what point does he stop being a mentee or lose touch with Hal Jordan to kind of not, like, he was very clean and set, and we saw that Hal Jordan looked like he'd been through something. So what was the moment between 2016 and 2026 where their paths diverted? And as somebody who's really my only experience with comic books is like the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So again, I was also shook that there was aliens involved. It's like, I don't know what I was expecting coming into it, but I didn't expect aliens to be such a big part of this story. And to be honest, the entire like alien portion and the fact that they were murdered, but nobody knew them. Nobody was mourning them. Like, they made a point of saying that. I just don't understand what happened. So how did nobody see them getting into an altercation or getting killed? Who would want to kill them? Why did they feel the need to come to a game and be dressed in, team jersey and stuff? I don't understand really what's bringing them there. Yeah, and we have to peel it back even further, because in the altercation with the alien and Hal, the alien says it's why else? War. And it'd be vengeance is their reason. So what kind of war is based off vengeance that brought them to a small town in Nebraska? And to a game. Like, that they had to get dressed up for this one football game. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, it's definitely, we don't have a sense really yet of the scope. We know that there's a whole, it's almost like a bureaucracy in terms of the planets and whatnot, and we hear them referred to as, district, whatever, and
the Green Lantern protects Earth, and you have to assume that there's others protecting other planets. I assume, I have no idea. But you don't understand the scope. Is it just a few? Like, why, if it's a war and it's vengeance, why were there like 4 of them?
Yeah.
So
many
lots of questions.
Yeah. And I think like our big ones coming back to it, it's like, why that small town Nebraska? Like, what is this whole alien conflict? Like, I'm curious and I'm hooked. I want to know what happens now.
And where's the ring? I would love to know. I mean, it's definitely a really interesting. We had the flashback with Jon Stewart, so I'm really interested to see. You know, they said that that's not the normal process. The ring is supposed to choose you. It's not supposed to be a successor. So I think there's a lot going forward to look at in terms of their relationship. I'm imagining that they're going to get along at some point. But really interesting. And I think in only one episode, they've given a lot of dimension to both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. I feel like I know a little bit about their motivations already, which is kind of rare to see in only one episode.
Yeah. So we went into Lanterns as complete DC noobs, and somehow we've already got aliens, a green ring, and absolutely no idea what the hell is going on. But honestly, that's exactly why we're excited for this show. We're going to figure this universe out as we go, so if you're a DC fan, tell us what we missed, without spoiling what's coming. And if you're new to DC like us, stick around because we're along for the ride. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next reaction because we need to know what happens next. Talk to you soon. Bye.